Ever wish you had someone to talk to anytime, anywhere, no matter what you're going through? Meet PsychPal, your 24/7 AI companion designed to help you process your thoughts, calm your mind, and keep you moving forward. Chat anytime during a panic attack, on a restless night, or just when you need to vent. Prefer talking instead of typing? Try voice journaling. PsychPal listens, transcribes, and truly understands. You can even upload screenshots of tough conversations and it'll help you unpack how they made you feel. PsychPal keeps life organized too. It can add appointments to your calendar, track your mood, and even summarize your sessions for your therapist so you'll never lose progress. Plus, built in crisis resources are always just one click away. It's a privacy first, constantly evolving, made to complement your professional care, not replace it. Ready to try it out? Head over to the link in this episode and use my code Pete at checkout to get 20% off your first month subscription to PsychPal. PsychPal, because your mind deserves a companion too.
That's how you want less. I don't wanna be normal, they know I will not die. You can try and no more, so you can kill my drive. All the times that I sold, still got my pedal through the metal. Told you I'll be a mogul, that's how you want less. I don't wanna be normal, so you can stay inside. That's why they say that you're local. You see, this world is mine. I'm not even your hope for them time. I'm taking more than milk, and I will show them one more. So that's how you one last time. I don't know what's so hard, can you get it through your mind?
Welcome to another exciting episode of Pete vs. Society. My guest today is a psychotherapist, leadership coach, and a speaker who specializes in helping high-achieving men break survival patterns that keep them successful on the outside, but unfulfilled on the inside. Please welcome in DeMonta Whiting. Did I say it right? Or did I butcher it, man? I'm sorry if I did.
That's correct. DeMonta Whiting, yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here, man. I appreciate it, man. Why don't you tell everybody a little more about yourself? Give them a little feel for who you are.
Yeah. So that's always a good question, right? You don't know where to start. I would say that I've been in this
Definitely.
field for about 10 years now. I've had my practice for about 5. I've worked with a lot of different populations. It is this population that I have found significant success with it. And I think it is because it's interesting. It's a population that doesn't get looked at much because they're the type that seems to have it all together. You're usually looking at like the oldest child, often is often the case, where they have a lot of responsibility. They're used to having to figure things out without much help. And so that's how their life is that's what their life sort of looks like. And so when they come to me, I found that like I have something within me that works really well with them. And I think it's because I'm pretty much like them, like I wasn't the oldest, but I was the oldest male in my family. And I had a lot of responsibility. And as I started doing therapy, I just find that like my skill set works really well with them. I see the world the way they see it. I have had to overcome a lot of obstacles that has gotten me to this place now where I feel at peace in myself. And so my goal is to be able to do that for them as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, like, and the fact that you can relate to people is what I think is the biggest driving force is that, these people are coming to you and they're like, well, he gets it, and we always want that. We always want that feeling like somebody understands what we're feeling. So that way you don't feel like you're the weird person in the room because you get it. And then you guys can, have an
Yes.
honest conversation because it's like, because that comes with anything. You think about it, like mental health itself, like you talk to certain people, you can tell what people get it and what people don't get it because based on the way the conversation starts going, like, and it's scary sometimes because now I'm able to identify it a lot of times when people start talking to me. I'm like, I'm thinking about what they're saying and I'm listening to what they're saying because certain things they're saying let you know they get it. And other things tell you like, hey, they're not really sure what you're talking about. They're just trying to be very nice, ask questions about it. But then it's like,
Yeah, yeah,
they
yeah,
just
yeah.
don't understand. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's like, you know what I mean? Like you can tell in a
Yeah.
conversation, most people that understand what's going on and things like that too. So,
Yeah. And in therapy,
and,
they
and
weed
it,
out pretty quickly because they may go along with, yeah, this is working, but you don't get that far. Especially if you're working with high achievers that's trying to get things done.
mhm.
They're usually not the type that's going to play around too much. They don't have a lot of time to do that. And so they're usually the types that like, okay, this is what I want. This is how I want it. Let's go. And works fine with me.
Yeah, and it works perfect because they know what they want exactly, and it's besides, versus somebody else who has no idea and you're still trying to figure out where they want to go and where the path and everything else. So, and things like that too. And you have an impressive resume. Men's Insider, shout out LA, Voyage LA. Like these
Thank
are
you.
some big names here, man. That's awesome though. Like it has to feel good that,
Thank you.
these guys are wanting to talk to you about the things you're doing, man. It's like, that's really cool though.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. It's great. I spent the last few years honing my craft before
Hmm.
I even did anything like this because I wanted to make sure that I want to make sure that when I present it is worth presenting for these people. So now that I'm here doing this, it's like all the training wheels are off. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah. And what was the road like getting to this point? I mean, was it a rough ride for you? I know you said you're the oldest brother in the family. So like a lot of people you saying were relying on you as a kid. Like, did you feel like that sense of entitlement, like you had to grow up sooner than you had to?
Yeah, I mean, I don't wanna go into too much detail, but,
Yeah, you don't have to.
it's a
No,
rough
no.
upbringing. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
like, a rough upbringing. First of all, so I'm from Newport News, Virginia, AKA Bad News, so shout out to Bad News. They got the nickname for a reason.
Yeah.
It just was a rough neighborhood, rough environment, a lot of moving around, a lot of having to figure things out on the fly.
Yeah.
And so through that experience, it's interesting because that experience teaches you how to survive in that environment. But there's also something unique to you where for me, it was, I see how these people are interacting with each other. Not only is it survival, this is interesting to me. Like
Hmm.
this is something I want to look more into. And so as I got older, when I went to college, my major was Spanish. I always wanted to study Spanish, but I
Yeah. See, I
also
was going
took
to ask you
psychology
about
courses.
if psychotherapy was going to be your first thing, but now you already led into that one for me too. So Spanish was your
Yeah,
first major, huh?
yeah, I don't know why. I can tell you the story why. Okay, let's go into it. So
Okay.
I had a friend. I had a friend back so in Virginia. I had a friend. It was a Puerto Rican kid named
Hmm.
Roberto. If you see him, Roberto, hit me up. Named Roberto, and he introduced me to their world, right? And it was totally different from the world I grew up in. And I spent a lot of time with him, and I spent a lot of time with him. And his family helped me out a lot through some difficult situations. And so when we split like in middle school. We moved to a different part of Virginia, and then we moved to Maine. And so I never saw him again. And then I went to college, and I was trying to figure out a major, what I wanted to study. And I had been studying Spanish. So since I met him, I started studying Spanish. And I think I got a D in my first Spanish class in middle school in sixth grade. And then from there on, it's been straight A's throughout college. I just always wanted to be, I guess, a interpreter or like a translator for people. I thought it would be a cool thing to do. And that was my plan. That was my life trajectory. Aside from also loving psychology.
Hmm.
Also, so I like them both. And so let's see. So I get into college. I'm studying Spanish. I'm taking some psych courses too. I love them both. I'm doing well in both. And then what's crazy is that my junior year, I got diagnosed with cancer, right? And it
Okay.
was a
Okay.
pretty crazy Yeah, it was a pretty crazy cancer. I was out of school for about a year and getting treatment. And this is where a lot of this goes back to therapy because I guess prior to this, I was very much a people pleaser. I was very much
Hmm.
as the older, also like learning that other people are more important. Other people's needs are more important than your needs.
Yeah.
I learned that early on, and so I took that with me into adulthood and into some very unhealthy personal relationships that I've had.
Yeah.
And so I got sick my junior year, went to the hospital. I was in there for about a year, got out, and then everything just changed. I just went full on psychology. I don't know why. I just kind of did it. Well, I know why. I know why. That period, mind you, I said I was only in there for a year. That
Yeah.
period of me being there started like, I want to say somewhere August, September. I think I got out in May, June. That's not a year, but it's somewhere around there.
Yeah. No, you're right.
That period was so crazy for me. It forced me to face myself in ways that I've never done it before. It forced me to, when you're in a life or death situation, it forces you to see what's most important to you. It forces you to take the reins over your life if you're going to ride this thing out, right? And I was determined that this was not going to be a thing that took me out. I don't know. I was determined that this wasn't going to be it. The doctors were telling me otherwise.
They
And
always tell you
so
something otherwise, doctor wise, because they're really not sure a lot of times. We have a good friend of the show,
they're not sure a
D.
lot of times. There's
He
a
went
lot
through
of
cancer and died.
liability.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of liability issues there. I think it was something environmental. I'm not quite sure, but I think you take the environmental, you add it on with the high stress,
Hmm.
a lot. You got a recipe for disaster, right? And so, where was I? I was studying psychology. Oh, I know why. Because there was a part of my treatment that you couldn't do with chemo, you couldn't do with radiation, and you couldn't do with surgery, and that is the mind.
Hmm.
And I had to give this weak, people pleasing person who grew up in some of the worst situations. I had to now take the reins, or don't. But it's all up to me, right? And so I just went all in, and I took control of what I could take control over. I couldn't control what they were doing to my body, but I could control my mind. And so I did everything that I could to fortify my brain, to
Yeah.
what was important to me. I studied what it would take. What did I study? I studied how to heal the mind, right? How to heal the body. I got a lot of negativity out of my life. I put more positivity into it. I did a lot of research. I did like side project. I did like music therapy. I would hang out with people, joke with a lot of doctors and stuff. I would hang out with friends from campus. It would anything that can put positivity into my life. I would exercise, right? So like I remember walking around with my little, I don't know what we call the thing. I have my Broviac in my chest. I have a cable attached to this little thing I'm walking around with. And I know that 21 times around the nurse's desk is a mile.
Yeah.
So I would do a mile a day, every day. And it was hard to talk about. So I had to take over whatever I could take over, right? And so
Yeah.
I would walk around the desk a mile a day, every day, focus on my mind. What would happen was that over time, the doctors were like, I don't know why this is working. This is not supposed to work, but this is working for you. I was supposed to get a bone marrow transplant.
Okay.
And if you know much about bone marrow transplant, what sucks is that they have to kind of wipe out your immune system and put someone else's
Hmm.
immune system in it. And the problem is it gets rejected a lot. And so
Yeah.
I'm literally staying on the floor with people who are dying around me, right? From getting transplants and not working out. So they had to do a stem cell extraction, right? To see if my stem cells were good. And I was great. So I didn't have to do that, right? We had to do surgery because I was having some complications. Surgery was great. Everything came
Yeah.
out fine. And it was just like, well, we don't know what to do with this because there were like 26 cases in the US, 85% mortality rate, and surgery is not usually the thing that helps. It's usually the chemo that helps shrink it down. They do the surgery, but then it comes back. I've been cancer free for 26 years, I
That's
think,
awesome.
and like I was saying, so I did the hospital thing, got out, I worked that summer at a summer program,
Hmm.
went back to school next fall. Like it never
And
happened,
then
right? And
psychology was a major straight out from there, right? That was just straight, just shot
and
out the
yeah,
gun. You're like, you
psychology
know
was
what?
amazing.
I'm gonna ride this thing. Yeah, that's awesome though.
Then that's it. And ever since then, it was just like, I'm gonna ride this thing out. I'm gonna understand how people function because I need to take what I learned and I need to give it to other people.
Hmm.
Because no one should have
Hmm.
to be on their deathbed to make a decision that could change their life. My life has been, I won't say I haven't had ups and downs, but there's a stark
Yeah.
difference between before I went in and after I got out, who you're
Yeah.
talking to, you know? And I've been leading my life versus being a passenger since then.
Yeah. That's awesome though. I mean, that's pretty cool though, because you were, despite the odds, man, you just kept pushing no matter what. You're like, I'm not gonna let life keep me down. Forget it. If I can make this, I can do that. You had it down to a science. You're like, this is how many laps it takes for this to make it a full mile. And you were doing that every single day, regardless of what you were dealing with. Which is really cool though. I mean, and then, after that you went on to psychology, and here you are now, man, a speaker, leadership coach. You're over here working with high performing individuals, which is awesome though. And like, from where you came from to where you're now, it's like it's very humbling for a lot of people. Like, people look at you like, what do you know? Well, let me tell you, sit down. You got 20 minutes and a shot of whiskey. I'll tell you. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
pretty
So
much.
so let me ask you this though. What's some advice you have for some of the other people out there? Just some advice you can give them, like, hey, listen, these are what the high achieving guys are doing. What could they be doing to get to that level?
Well, uh, what my advice? It's not so much about what the high achieving people are doing because it's the high achieving people that come to see me. It's
Hmm.
more so what they're not doing, right?
Oh, okay, okay.
People don't realize how much of what they see is their perception of things and not the reality of things. And so just because something is making you successful, okay, great. But if you're basing your success on what you see around you, but you feel nothing inside, that's not success. So you got to fix that thing that's inside.
Yeah.
And that's the hard part because you gotta be willing to be vulnerable. Okay. You
Okay.
gotta be willing to be vulnerable. And that's very hard because vulnerable doesn't mean being tough, being able to take on 100 men. Being vulnerable means telling you I'm sad right now, telling you that like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it through this. We were talking about suicide earlier, right?
Hmm.
What if those people felt like they had someone who understood what they were going through, who felt like that someone gave a damn about them and their struggles? Would they have gone down that path or would they have taken a different path? Right. And so you're talking about high achievers. These are people who were taught and or learned early on. Don't ask me for help. Figure it out.
Yeah. True.
And they've been put in unreasonable positions where they had to figure things out. And because they did, now they have unreasonable expectations that is normal for them. You know what I mean? So, like, if I've been giving unrealistic expectations, why would I not have those unrealistic expectations as an adult?
True.
Very true point. But you said it there the most. You said they're vulnerable, man. They're talking about they telling you that they're sad and things like that. Why do you feel like most men don't talk about it? Do you feel it's just because that's how they were taught? Because the generation prior us taught us that? But I mean, at the same time, we have to think about our parents were parents for the first time. So they didn't know what they were teaching us. They only knew what they were taught.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a lot of components. The thing that's popping out to me right now
Hmm.
is that in certain environments, I don't have time to teach you all this stuff. You know what I mean? So it's like in certain environments, I can't teach you how to be a man because I'm not a man, right? In certain environments, I have to figure out how I'm going to feed all of you. I don't have time to focus on you. And so since the expectation is often that you're a man, right?
Hmm.
So, right? And whereas if I don't want to go in the whole like there's difference between men and women, but I will say that I feel like there's a general expectation that as a man you're going to step up some way somehow, right? That is the expectation. And so whether I teach you or not, you still have to figure it out.
Yeah.
Whether I'm the one that teaches you or not, you still got to figure it out, right? And so you don't have the option of, well, I don't know what to do. You know what I
True.
mean? I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know how I'm supposed to make this work. Just figure it out. You got to figure it. I mean, like, you do what you got to do. And then and here's the thing. So you do what you got to do. And if you do well, you attribute it to, well, you know what? Growing up that way was beneficial for me because it made me who I am.
Yeah.
The reality is maybe you could have gone so much far if you didn't have to do it by yourself. You know?
Very true point. Yeah, that's a good point, though. I mean, if you had help and support and things like that too, but it's like I think that today's generation, it's a little misguided if you think about it, because a lot of them always look at the man to do everything, but it's like what if we need help though? It's like nobody worries about what we need, but they want us to do everything. But then at the end of the day, when we need you, it's like, oh well, we can't do that. You're weak because you need help. It's like, but am I really though? I'm trying to tell you is whatever person you put in that category, you as this other person that's in the relationship of whatever, it's like I need help sometimes too, and it's the hardest part is like when we ask for that help, we get scrutinized for that. Well, you're not a man anymore because you're asking for help, but that's
Yeah.
really not the case though. It's like, everybody needs help at some point, but it's like it's so demonized these days, and then we're teaching the younger. No, go ahead.
Well, here's the thing though. I hear what you're saying. But I feel like you're talking
Hmm.
more on a global scale, right? I'm talking more of that may be true, but here's what I think. I think that you're
Okay.
primed early on from your early life experience to think that way. To think that if I ask for help, I'll be scrutinized, right? Because whatever you believe will actualize. So if I think that, for example, I can't trust people, people are untrustworthy, right? I don't like learn that as a young child and then forget that as an adult. I take that with me as an adult and I apply it to the world. I
Yeah.
apply it to people that I meet. And so what you're talking about right now, I think that if I'm taught in my household that you're just supposed to figure it out, you're a man, or I get scrutinized for asking questions, I will maybe seek out people who are similar because that's comfortable for me. B, look at the world through that lens where I see those things stand out more to me than things that are not that case, right? And so, because as you were talking, I was thinking you need to be around some other people. I was thinking like because if I'm saying this person how I'm feeling and this person is scrutinizing me, then fuck them. Let me go talk to this person over here because they may not scrutinize me, right? But if I
Hmm.
think that everyone's scrutinizing me, this person is just an example of how the whole world is. So I'm not going to ask this other person.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? Because they're all
Yeah,
the
no, it
same.
makes sense. Yeah, it makes
Yeah.
sense. That makes perfect sense, though.
Yeah.
Like I said, though, it's just, to me, it's just like I think it's very interesting how everybody wants you to be this like alpha male, but at the same time, if you can't talk about your feelings, and like, how does that make you the alpha male? You know what I'm saying? Like if you're supposed to be the top dog, because we know how men look at things in a towers type system, So
Yes.
like when you're looking at it like that, okay, so then alpha male should be able to talk about everything, his feelings, all these different things, but that's not the way we look at it though. And I just like
Mm.
me personally, I just think it's like I think it's funny though. It makes me laugh because it's like, why not just have a conversation with other people? And a lot of times, what I found out from some people is that they're waiting for one person to say something so everybody will jump in the conversation. Like one guy said, for example, his fantasy football team, all the guys he had together, one he started saying something, and then everybody started saying something. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah, 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 yeah.
we're waiting for that one person to say something so we all can jump in the conversation too,
Yeah. Yeah. So, and for me, it's like I'm gonna be that person that says something because
Yeah.
if I want it, I gotta go get it, right. And so it's hard to do. I think for me, maybe that's part of the vulnerability. Is like I see everybody wanting to say something. I want to say something too, but I don't want to say something and then be judged by everybody else. Well, who's thinking that they're judging everybody else? I think that. What am I basing it on?
Yeah.
Right? What
No,
am
I
I
agree.
basing? I'm basing it on my experience growing up as a kid. I'm basing it on what it was like in elementary school, right? And so for me, it's like, all right, I know where this feeling is coming from, and it's not coming
Mhm.
from this moment right here, right now. So
Yeah.
I'm going to take a risk and just fuck it. If you were in my classes in grad school, I was always the first one to raise my hand, and the professors would laugh because like I knew you'd do that. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, because you don't mind. You don't mind being you don't care what other people think, right? They also don't realize, I fought fucking cancer. What do I care about what this person thinks? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Right. And so like, but with that too, it's like, it's interesting because you're saying like how other people would join in. Those people also want to do it. They also want to do it, but
Mhm.
they're too afraid of what the outcome could be. You know what I mean? They don't know what's going to happen if they do it. And so it's easier for me to jump on what someone else already doing than for me to do it myself.
Yeah, be
And
the leader,
so
not the
I've
follower,
learned that,
essentially.
yeah, so I've learned that like whether I do it or I don't, it is what it is. If I'm not doing it because I'm afraid of what this person thinks, that's on me because I don't know what this person thinks. Right. So yeah,
I think that's a strong message, though. You don't know what people are thinking, And me, I'm the same way,
you
though. I'm
don't
just
know.
like I don't give a fuck anymore. At this point, I'm just like I'm just gonna go do it. At this point, I'm just going for it. At this point, like I'm on the internet, everybody can see me everywhere. It's like, what do I left? What have I left to lose at this point? You can Google and Chat GPT me, and I show up. So at this point, I've got nothing to lose. So I'm just gonna go for it full
Yeah,
steam ahead. And anybody else
good
that
for
wants to
you.
come along for the ride, man, just let's go for it. You know what I mean? Like I'm always there to always looking out for other people. Like sometimes you can tell when other people want to say something, and it's just the way you change the conversation. So, like, now that's why I ask people, hey, how's your mental health? Because if you think about it, when I ask you, hey, how are you doing? You can say, okay, and then the conversation ends. But when you ask that question, you change the way you're looking at the conversation. Sometimes makes
Yeah,
people
that's
want to
true.
ask you, you know what I'm saying? Like some people want to know why. Why are you asking that question? And then you just explain, well, listen, hey, I
Yeah, yeah,
noticed you
yeah,
weren't you know what I mean? You open the conversation to a whole nother level. And sometimes those people are like, okay, cool, let me tell you about it. And I think it's a lot of times
yeah,
you're looking for those people that understand the context of the conversation, depending on whatever it is.
yeah,
And we all struggle with
yeah,
things. So like, whenever I close the show up, the same thing I say is always I say, one kind act can save someone's life or you make their day because it's the truth though. It's like, you don't know what people go through on a daily basis. And I'm in a setting where I do my day job now is I'm in the customer constantly face the customers all the time. So I'm always trying to be positive with everybody because that's just me though. That's not just me putting on an act. That's how I've
yeah,
always been. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah,
you don't know what everybody going through, and things like that too and you can see like the constant repetition of the constant, same thing. It's like you're being consistently the same person to them. Eventually, these guys will open up to you. Like there's people that are older than me that come in. I have full on conversations with them. If somebody else is up there, won't say two words to anybody else. Hey, how you doing? That's it.
yeah,
Me, they'll have a full on
yeah,
conversation. I go, why is the difference? And because I've earned their respect, I've earned that repetition with them. You know what I mean? Like we know each other. I could ask how their families are doing things like that, no problem. And people just don't understand. It's all about that connection you're making with people. You got to earn people's trust, especially the older generation, because they were raised differently than we were. So, it's a respect thing.
yes,
Like you're just being very polite to people and things like that too, and all that great stuff. So I noticed the difference in the conversations, and before I started this show, I had met a pastor and I'm not a big religious person until this point. And I was talking to him about it, and I always told him, like, the way I looked at religion was just because the way it was force fed me. But, me and him were just having conversations about it. And he said, Pete, has anyone ever told you that the way you interact with people, people tend to gravitate towards you because you're just so very open and honest with them? I'm like, I'm just being me, man.
yeah,
Like, I don't notice. So, like, I'm just doing
yeah,
me. It's not a show. It's just who I am. And especially in the space of where I'm at now, it's like you have to have authenticity because if not, people read through that shit real quick, and you got to be careful. So, like, in the early stages of the show, I didn't really talk much about myself, but then later on, it got a lot easier. So I just woke up one day and just said, fuck it. I'm just going to go for it. Why not? What do I have to lose at this point? And now it's
yeah,
just been a
right.
great conversation every single time I hit record, man. Like I meet people like you, I meet other people, I meet people that are more successful than me. And I don't compare myself to them at all. I just having them on the show because it's great because it's like, you're given all the success these people have. They're still people at the end of the day. And I want everybody to feel like you can come in this room. We can have a real honest conversation. I still apply to a lot of people will text me, hey man, I need you to come in here. Like TikTok, I hang on a lot. I got a friend, he does a podcast as well. He messaged me this morning, for
Yeah,
example. Like the gentleman I was talking to this morning about it, he was like, oh, everybody's mad at me because I was putting myself first. Why? Like, don't let these people get to you, man. You're doing the correct thing.
yeah,
If you
yeah,
can't be there for somebody, what good are you for anybody else? Put anybody in that position, a mother, a father, whatever it is. You can't be, if you're not good enough for yourself, then everybody else around you, you're not going to do any good for them. And he was like, well, they were
Yeah.
texting me, getting mad because I don't answer. Okay, so tell them to get over it. I don't know what to tell them. Like, don't let them affect what you're doing to make yourself feel better. Like you need to recharge. Sometimes you got to unplug. Like I tell people, unplug from the internet all the time. Like take your phone, turn it off for a little bit, and try that, and just see how well it works. Not answering messages now. Like obviously, if it's an emergency, answer that call. But everything else that just doesn't seem important to a certain thing, and set boundaries too. That's the other one too. Boundaries are the toughest one to set for most people, and you could agree to this too. It's just like it's hard because then you have to do it because everybody starts criticizing. Well, DeMonta is just he's being selfish. No, he's looking out for himself at the end of the day. And this is the same thing I told him this morning. I was like, you got to look out for yourself, man, because at the end of the day, if you're not taking care of you, who's going to take care of you? And the answer is no one.
Yeah.
It's a scary
Yeah.
fact,
Well,
isn't
and
it? It's
nobody
just
owes
like
you that.
exactly,
Nobody owes you that. And the cool thing
exactly.
about this too is when you start taking care of yourself, you operate from a place of abundance. Or I learned this from my wife.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when you're always trying to take care of other people, but you're not taking care of yourself, you're operating from a place of like deficit. You're always in a negative.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you get frustrated, you're not understanding why. Well, because you're giving something you don't really have to give. But when you're giving to yourself on a regular basis and making sure that you're good, as selfish as that may seem, you actually have more to give to other people. So like if I have $100 in my pocket, you need $1, I can give you $1. But if I have $1 and you need $1, now we got a problem because to give to you, I can't have for myself. And
Mm-hmm.
so I have to ask myself, why am I giving this to you when I don't have to myself? Is it because I'm being a nice person or am I being a passive person? Because do I think that like we're equals or do I think that I'm less than you? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
Yeah.
so
No, I agree.
depending on how you see yourself will determine how all this stuff plays out, which is why it's so important to prioritize your mental health and making sure
Mm-hmm.
that you're good up here to be able to even like, I don't know, to operate in a healthy way with other people,
Yeah, exactly. Because you
So
can't give anybody something if you don't have anything. Like just like you said, that was a great example there because that's what I was telling him. He's like, "Well, I just didn't have anything." I'm like, "Then just tell them." Like, "Oh, they got mad at me." Okay, well, let them get mad. Like at the end of the day, someone's gonna get pissed off by something
yeah,
you do. Okay, that's not your problem to
yeah,
worry about. You're worrying about yourself, and you did the right thing, prioritizing yourself. Now they're making you feel bad because that's what they do. That's what some people do that to you, depending on whatever category they fit in. We all want to keep throwing narcissists around like we know what that is, but half these people have no idea what that even term even means. And it's just like they leech onto your sanity. Like, when I got in this space, I told people like my inbox is open, but don't if I don't respond, please don't take it as I don't see your message because I'm only one person. Like you can only do so much and I can only do so much. Like if you're reaching out to me and it's like if I deem it a crisis situation, like, hey, listen, I'm having thoughts about hurting. Okay, that's a message I'm gonna prioritize. I can listen, hey, what's up? Talk to me. At least say something because I'm ready with 988 ready to go on the vaccine. Like, hey, listen, if I feel it's something I can't handle, hey, listen, you know what? I think this is something you need to talk to somebody that's trained in these situations and just keep hammering home. Hey, call 988. These guys are trained for this thing. I am not trained in any way. I'm willing to listen to you, but at the same time, like I know where my limitations are, and I'll be the first one to tell you, like, hey, listen, you need to call and talk to somebody and get some real help because I can't help you in that situation as much as I want to. And that's a lot of times early on, people are like, oh, go talk to Pete about everything. Like, that's great. Keep telling everybody to come talk to Pete. Pete's gonna send him where he needs to. Luckily, I have a whole like in the directory of just people I know that fit in different categories. If I can help you, I will reach out to one of them and say, hey, listen, I need to get you in contact. Sonny, what's the best way to contact? You know what I mean? That kind of thing. I'm constantly asking questions for other people if I can. But like there's days where I'm just like, I don't say nothing. I disappear for a bit. And it's like, well, where were you? Oh, I'm just busy. I just tell people I'm busy because you know what? What are you going to say to them? I'm busy? I've just been busy. I'm working on the podcast stuff or I'm working on this. You know what I mean? I,
right,
I
right,
don't
right,
give them
right.
a chance to say anything else because you know what they're going to do is they're going to emotionally terrorize you. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think so. I don't think you're not going to win this battle with me because I already know what's going to happen. Had this been a
Yeah,
year ago when I first started this show, okay, maybe a little bit different. I want to be looking at, but now I'm a little wiser. The more people I meet, the more things I start learning from other people. I start studying things. I did a lot of self-reflecting this past year and I've noticed a major change
yeah,
in things. I changed a lot of things around. I get into a lot of different areas of things as I go, but it's just like it's so fascinating every time I get to meet people because it's like you get to learn something new from them, and I try to take away what I can from conversations with people, and I apply it to other people. Like, hey, listen. Have you checked out this? I got somebody. This person I talked to today has something great that fits in your category, and that's a great thing about the
yeah,
show is that we're just having a conversation. I'm not sitting here drilling you with questions. And it's been a great conversation. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're just having a talk about these kind of things, and it's, to me, it's just like, I feel like people say we're talking about mental health stuff, but are we really though? That's the real question I have for a lot of people. It's like, you see all these great, different posts on the internet, but it's like, watch how many people after the month stop posting about it. It's like, okay, cool.
Right.
But then people get mad at them. It's like, they never claimed to be an advocate, but they were posting about it. But it's like, it's the whole clickbait thing. And the one videos I hate that I really just don't like are the ones where, hey, listen, after you take your life. And then it starts listing all these things, just drive me absolutely crazy. I'm like, you've never been in that situation if you're telling someone that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? It's just the craziest thing I've ever seen. It's like, why would you tell somebody that? You know that that's how they're feeling. Why validate the fact that something on that list possibly is triggering them? You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't feel these
Yeah,
are
yeah,
doing, or
yeah.
like, they're really not helpful. Or those other days, it's like every time I see them, I just like start cringing. I'm like, oh God, you need to stop. You please stop putting those videos out there. They're horrible. I just can't do it, man. The internet, I have a love-hate relationship. It's great because I've met a lot of really cool people. At the same time, it's like you run into stuff that just drives you absolutely crazy because you're listening to people. I had a guy the other
Yeah.
day, in fact, tell me, go back to when I was 18, because if you're depressed, he said, go back to your 18, you're a happier place. I'm like, but how do you know at 18, half these people were
I was
even
happy at
happy at that
18.
point? You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like, come on,
I
man. You
love that.
can't you
Right.
can't keep saying these kind of things and expect somebody to be like, hey, that's okay. No, I had to distance myself because I was like, yeah, I can't be a part of this, man. Like, I love what your motive of your nonprofit was, but what your message you're giving out to people, please stop. Like, you need to quit right now. What you're telling people is incorrect information. Do a little bit of
Yeah.
research. Hell, you can go to Google and get more information in 5 seconds that would tell you not to say those things. But he's out there telling people that. I'm like,
Right.
yeah, I can't be a part of this, man. And he got mad when I blocked him, and he came under another account. And it's like, well, why'd you block me? Because I can't be a part of what you're saying, man. Like, you have to realize what you're saying doesn't align with what I'm talking about. Like, you're saying these wild notions.
Right.
It's like going up to somebody who's depressed and say, listen, cheer up. It's like, that's not doing them any good. That's not even what it's about, though. It's like, you're telling some people, oh, hey, having an anxiety attack, for example, oh, go calm down. That's great to tell me to just calm down, but it's really not how that works. I can't just shut it off because I want to. Yeah, because I just decided at this moment that I wanted something to trigger me. Something's triggered me at this point. Sometimes it's better just to sit there and let me just melt down. I'll feel good afterwards and I'll be on my way. You know what I mean? And that's the hardest part. And the funniest thing too is, like, I was on a panel and I was the only person out of all these individuals that said, hey, how about ask them how you can help them? That was the funny thing, that everybody agreed with me, said, oh, well, I like what he said. Like, I'm like, okay, I get it. I get what you want to give these grandiose answers and things like that. But let's look at from the end of the day. Like, let's ask them how we can help them. Because a lot of times you may not know this individual. Just say, hey, listen, how can I help you better? A lot of times they know how you can help them better than, most people can. You're like, and it saves you a lot of trouble. But, it just made me laugh a little bit because I was like, that's funny. Everybody agreed with me. At the same time, I felt validated to the point I'm just like, damn, everybody thinks I have a great answer. Okay. I'm like, I just kind of gave hey, why not ask them? You know what I mean? Like, it was funny though, man. It cracks me up though. But it's so interesting though, since I've been doing this, I've had a lot of opportunities to go do other stuff. I've done some other panels. I've done some summits and things like that too. So it's been great to get out there and talk to other people and just hear stories from people. And we've had some wild moments, including this season we're recording for now. We've had some really knee-jerking moments go on in here, man. But it's like, I enjoy it though. Like, every day, every time I hit record, it's like a therapy session almost, most of these people, because it's like you get to talk to them about things, you get to hear their stories. People feel validated, and all I'm doing is having a
Yeah.
conversation. I'm not an expert by any means. I don't claim to be an expert. I have never claimed to be an expert. I'm just an average Joe who's out there wondering why we're not talking more about these things. And it's been great to see the response I get from people that just want to come on the show and have conversations with me.
Yeah. This is
So,
awesome, man. And
so
the
man,
thing, yeah, go ahead.
we're at the point of this show where we're going to ask you that fun question I told you about earlier, my man. You ready for this one?
Okay.
This is a really good one. Look at you.
Okay.
You got the eye. You're like, okay. So
Right, let's see where this goes.
my question to you is that if your mental health had a song, what would you say that song would be? That's a great question, isn't it? Look at you. I know you like this one because I heard you said music earlier. I'm like, oh yeah, music. I'm down with music.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. If my mental health had a song,
What would you say that
what
song would
would it
be?
be? If my mental health had a song, what? See, man, you trying to go deep with this. The song that came to my head was Titanium, but at the same, yeah, Titanium. That was the song
Okay. That's a good one. Okay, that's a
by
good
who was
answer.
that? Sia.
Yep, I think that's
And
what it
I
is.
think yeah, I think it's because, man. So now, if you were a psychologist, you'd be all in my mind now, right? Because I think of it's contradictory. Because when I think of it, I think of life as coming out of the shell, getting rid of all the barriers. But then when you talk about
Mhm.
my favorite song, it's like, I'm like, you can't break me. You know what I mean? Like, no matter what you do, I'm gonna overcome. So then that's putting the armor on. You know what I mean? And
I would have
so
seen you say,
that's the
like, Eye
song.
of the Tiger would have been one of them too, you could have put in that category as well. Just because the way your mind was working, it's like, you're like, "Alright, well, I gotta make 21 laps here to make a mile," and regardless of what you were dealing with, I just kinda felt that dun, dun,
But
you
see,
know,
but
that
that's where the
constant.
titanium comes into place.
Yeah.
That's where the titanium comes into place because I was, if you looked at me, I have pictures of back then. I was like nothing. I was like, I think I weighed like mid 90
Mhm.
pounds, and I was like 20, 21 years old, right? I was skin and
Jeez.
bones, right?
Yeah.
But I just refused to go down. Like if I'm not saying I couldn't die, it's just that wasn't going to be the day, and
Yeah,
that was the
you
case
weren't
every
gonna
single
allow it,
day.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I
yeah,
love it.
that's the
I
song that
love it,
came on
man.
for me.
Like I said, your story kind of makes me feel like a good friend of ours, D. He runs a podcast that's called Trauma Saves. Like, he's a boxer now, but
Mm,
he went through cancer as well, man. He had the same mindset. He just had that mentality, like, I'm not gonna let something take me out. Forget that. And now he's a boxer. He goes all over the world and does different matches and things like that. So it was really cool when I heard that because that's the first thing I thought of. Like, damn, that's kind of like D a little bit, you know. Like, you had that warrior's mindset. You know, that's why I said, you know, you could use Eye of the Tiger today too, because you're just that
mm,
constant going. You're like, yeah, I'm not gonna let nobody stop me. Fuck this. I got my eye on the prize,
yeah.
man. I'm gonna let this thing win. So that was great though. Like I said, that's the first entry for that one. You know, we've had a lot of interesting answers to the question. We had Rage Against the Machine from the most unexpected person ever. That one made me laugh a little bit. Whitney Houston came up earlier today on another interview I did. I was like, that's awesome. Okay, Whitney. Okay, all right. I like Whitney. Whitney works. Okay, you know. So like, you know,
Right.
that's good though. Okay, so my next question to you, and right before we wrap up here, okay, you ready for this one? This is a real good one. If you could break the stigma about mental health, now, when I ask you this question, I'm asking you anything that you hear on a daily basis that you just want people to stop believing. What would you say that one thing would be?
I want people to stop believing. What would that one thing be?
Yeah. What would you say that one thing is? Like the one thing that just drives you crazy when you hear people go and say something, you're just like, oh, your eye roll, and you're like, oh God, can you please just stop already?
Well, I mean, I don't hear it so much today as I used to hear back in the day. Because back in the day, it was, oh, so you just talk to them? That was what I used to hear all the time. So it's like, so you just talk to them. So that's it, right? And it's like, no, I don't just, what the hell? I wasn't in school for this many years to talk to people. Like, if I want, I could talk to my friend. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I remember. Because it's like, this is not a 6-month course. I had to work for this. And because they don't see the journey, they don't see the journey prior to you even going to this field. That's the reason why you went in the field in the first place. So that's that journey. Then they don't see the journey of being in the field, right? And all that that takes. And so the mind is so freaking crazy. It's crazy
Hmm.
powerful that like you can heal the body with the mind. You know what I mean? And like you can literally heal the body with the mind. You can create your world that you live in, right? I
Hmm.
can have chaos all around me, but I create the world that I live in, not
Hmm.
life. Life just exists. Life is being life. I'm the one with the paintbrush painting everything.
Yeah.
And so once I realize that, I can control everything, literally everything, right? Yeah. So when you have someone trained in doing that and they're good at what they do and they are helping people, it's not a fluke. This is an expertise. This is a
Hmm.
skill set that takes a long time to develop, and not anyone can do it. You're not talking to your best friend and having a conversation because your best friend is going to talk to you from their own experience. That's it. That's it. So if you're like, hey, like, should I date this girl? Your best friend's going to go, well, tell me about the girl. Well, she treats me like this. Don't date her anymore. But they didn't
Yeah.
resolve the issue why you date the girl in the first place,
Exactly. Yeah. I think it's
right?
a great example, though. I think it's a really great example, actually. That's really great. Well, Devontae, I wanted to welcome you so much. Thank you so much, man, for being here today, man. It was great. I enjoyed meeting you. I enjoyed having a conversation, getting your thoughts on a bunch of things like that. Before we start wrapping up, why don't you let everybody know where they can find you? What is the best way to get a hold of
Oh
you?
yeah,
Socials, website, whatever you feel is the best way. Let them have it.
yeah. The best way to get in touch with me is www.demontawhiting.com. That's my website. It has links to get in touch with me directly. You can see what I do, who I work with. Uh,
Hmm.
yeah, I think that's the easiest way to get to me.
I like it. I
Yeah,
like it,
and
man.
you
Well,
have
thank
that
you.
link on your
It's gonna be just show
thing when you put it
descriptions
out,
will
right?
have it. Yep, the show
Yeah.
descriptions will have everything on it and everything like that too. We'll definitely put the website and everything like that, and then we'll put some of your socials on there. That way, in case they want to go follow you and check out what you're up to on a daily basis, all that great stuff, you know, and things like that. Well, thank you so much for being here, man. I appreciate. We finally got this chance to meet. It was great meeting you. I think it was. I had a great time. If you ever want to come back and have a conversation, please do. Welcome. You're welcome to come back and hang out anytime, man. I had a great time with you. I enjoyed it so much.
Excellent.
All right. All right, guys, with that being said, we're going to wrap up this episode of Pete vs. Anxiety. You know where to find me at Pete vs. Anxiety on Spotify, all the way down to Pandora Radio. I'm going to X all the way down to TikTok, and as always say, it costs nothing absolutely to be kind to somebody. One kind act you could do could save some life, or hell, you can make their day. I'm Pete vs. Anxiety, signing off saying, don't ask how your day is today. Say, hey, how's your mental health?